Smosh, one of the biggest founding creators in YouTube history. Their story, spanning nearly 20 years, has led to more success than Ian Heacox and Anthony Padilla could have ever possibly imagined, even multiple times being the #1 YouTubers on the platform and breaking a handful of world records. In 2015, with a push from their not-so-supportive parent company, they decided to branch out from their usual 10-minute or so sketches and create something a little longer. And there, Smosh the movie was born. And it was met with universal hatred. But that's a movie for another day and another video. A few years later, in 2016, Smosh's parent company thought it'd be best for them to try again on the movie scene, this time with a YouTube Red original Halloween movie titled Ghostmates. If you don't know the deal with Smosh, you haven't been keeping up with the Smosh history and the Smosh lore, here's possibly the quickest rundown you will ever see on this entire platform that is YouTube. Or wherever you're watching it, I may upload this as something else. Anyway, Smosh formed in 2002 as a website titled Smosh.com made by Anthony Padilla. In 2005, with the help of his new friend Ian Heacox, they joined YouTube and uploaded videos lip-syncing to popular theme songs. But on November 28, 2005, the pair released the Pokemon theme music video, which took the same style as their previous videos, however became far more popular. It even hit the most viewed video on all of YouTube record at the time. The brand only grew and evolved between 2006 and 2011 when they were acquired by Alloy Digital, which would later be known as Defy Media. Then, after countless videos across multiple different channels, plus 2 movies and a sitcom, Padilla announced in 2017 that he would be leaving Smosh to pursue independent video ventures due to a lack of creative freedom. Heacox stated, on the other hand, that he would remain with Smosh. This was kind of the time I stopped watching Smosh because of this breakup. Defy Media collapsed in 2018, leaving the brand ownerless. This was until 2019 when Smosh was acquired by Mythical Entertainment, a production company founded by Rhett and Link. During this time, Smosh operated out of Mythical Entertainment's Los Angeles office, though later moved into a specially built studio space in Burbank. On June 20th, 2023, my childhood had been healed, as Heacox and Padilla announced the latter's return to Smosh after the duo had decided to repurchase a majority stake in Smosh from Mythical Entertainment to become an independent entity again. It was stated that the main Smosh channel would return to its original pre-Defy Media style content from, say, 2005 to about 2012 before that whole thing started happening. However, the unscripted Smosh Pit and Smosh Games channels would remain completely the same. And that's what leads us here today. Like I mentioned somewhere in that really long history, Smosh made a second movie called Ghostmates. Ghostmates was directed by Jack Henry Robbins, written by Ryan Finity, and stars Smosh's own Ian Heacox and Anthony Padilla. But enough rambling, because this intro's gone on long enough and we haven't even started to talk about the movie. Let's break down Smosh's second venture into the film world with 2016's Ghostmates. Actually, wait, I should probably get into something more fitting for the Smosh video. So let's... Okay, there we go. That should do. Let's get into the movie.
Hello, everyone. You know, Halloween is a very strange holiday. Personally, I don't understand it. Kids worshiping ghosts, pretending to be devils. Things on TV that are completely inappropriate for younger viewers. Things like the following half hour. Nothing seems to bother my kids, but tonight's show, which I totally wash my hands of, is really scary. So if you have sensitive children, maybe you should tuck them into bed early tonight instead of writing us angry letters tomorrow. Thanks for your attention.
The movie opens with Ed, played by Ian Heacox, getting ready for a proposal of sorts. He doesn't distinctly specify what type of proposal this is, but since he mentions the name Jessica, we can only assume it's a marriage proposal. Speaking of Jessica, this is where she enters, played by Francesca Gialavassi. She's greeted by Ed, who is nicely dressed and has nicely decorated the house. He takes her on a walk through the house, reminiscing over all the special times they've shared, and all of this romanticness leads to the proposal. Ed gets down on one knee, Jessica is overwhelmed with joy, and he holds out the ring box. And then he proposes that Jessica becomes his roommate soon. Expecting a marriage proposal, obviously, Jessica is angry and upset and then leaves. I'm not going to explain the physics of what happens next or how easily it would have been to avoid, but Ed accidentally hangs himself. He could have simply stood up straight. Oh, hang on, he slipped over. But surely he could have, oh, okay, he's dead just like that. Despite all the commotion, we actually get a Shane Top from iCarly and from Smosh cameo on the TV. Pretty cool. Through all the hanging and suffocation, Jessica thinks Ed is ignoring her, so she breaks up with him through the door and leaves. But little does she know, Ed has died. I guess you could say he's a... Luckily, Ed awakens, so he can't be dead, surely. But the crime scene team is there and nobody can see him. In fact, they start mocking his body and taking pictures with it, because that's what any crime scene team would do. Ed sees his own body, which expectedly freaks him out. Here we get 2 more Smosh alumni cameos on the TV in Noah Grossman and Keith Leak Jr. One of the crime scene guys walks right through Ed, solidifying in his mind that not only is he dead, but he is also a... Ed accidentally possesses one of the cleaners, which again freaks him out.
I'm not a pervert!
But luckily he just kind of falls out of him. Next, we are introduced to Charlie, played by Anthony Padilla, who pulls up in his car with a bunch of boxes and bags. He gets a call from a buyer revealing that he's selling something in a Facebook marketplace / Gumtree type situation. He's just moved into a new house, which explains the car full of boxes and bags. The house he's moved into happens to be Ed's house before he actually died. When the real estate agent leaves, it's revealed that Charlie can actually see Ed, and Ed is shocked by this. Well, they're both confused. Ed tells Charlie that he's a ghost, but doesn't believe him. And to prove it, he runs through a wall, but just as he does, Charlie looks away because the person buying from him arrives. The person is there to buy an art tablet for Charlie, who accidentally on the tablet left one of his comics open, which is more or less just a shameless plug. The buyer doesn't like the comic because they're too dark, and just as he's saying this, Ed reveals from within the walls to see that Charlie wasn't even watching him do all that. The buyer, of course, can't see Ed, who then possesses Charlie as a way to prove that he is actually a ghost. The buyer freaks out and for some reason thinks Charlie is trashing the place, and then starts doing the same thing, because that's a normal thing to do at somebody's house. Charlie forces Ed out of his body and tells the buyer off for trashing the place. He gives Charlie the money and takes the tablet and leaves. He doesn't give Charlie anywhere near enough money though and tries to leave anyway, but Ed starts doing some ghosty stuff as a way to scare the buyer into giving Charlie the full amount and the tablet back. Now Charlie believes that Ed is a ghost. Charlie starts cleaning up the place and asks Ed some ghost related questions. Ed is trying to use Charlie's tablet to see who has posted about him after his death, and here we can see 2 of 2 Smosh mobile games, both of which I played a lot of. Charlie thanks Ed for helping him get the money, but thinks he should haunt somewhere else and shouldn't be living in the same house as Charlie. Meanwhile, Ed finds Jessica on Facebook, who has posted about Ed's passing. Ed disagrees about moving out, and since neither of them want to be the one to actually move out because it was Ed's house and now Charlie's officially bought it, so nobody wants to leave, they agree to be roommates. Or I guess you could say... And just like any roommate would, they share the same bed. Apparently ghosts can't actually sleep, so is just annoying Charlie all night. Ed annoys Charlie while he's eating his breakfast and then talks about his naked neighbor while Charlie is doing his art. For letting the ghost of Ed stay in the house, Ed gives Charlie a present. It's a ticket to I can't read this without laughing. It's a ticket to T-Pain's annual reading of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. For some reason, there's hardly anybody at this event, and they bond over The Raven being both of their favorite pieces of Edgar Allan Poe. Ed doesn't really reveal how he got the ticket despite Charlie asking, just as the show starts, and yes, they actually got T-Pain in this. And because Ed is a ghost, he gets right up close to Mr. Payne. I don't know how to refer to Mr. Payne, sure. At the same time, Charlie gets a notification that has an overdraft alert and says $10,223.71 has been removed from his bank account. The money has supposedly come from the purchase of this ticket, which was initially believed to be just a gift from Ed. Why would a ticket cost $10,000? They get into an argument, and of course, nobody can see Ed, so everyone, including Mr. Payne, believes Charlie is having a go at T-Pain. Now, this is a sentence I didn't expect to say when this movie started playing, so let me read it out for you. Ed causes a chain reaction that kills T-Pain.
He's gone.
God, you're such...
Which this lovely man with flawless lungs can vouch for.
He's dead.
What happened?
T-Pain comes back as a ghost and talks to Ed, and he doesn't seem to mind being dead. He's happy and content with the life that he's lived. Ed tells T-Pain that there's no heaven, so they're just kind of stuck here. He even asks if T-Pain wants to be best friends with him, but he's not interested. A light comes from the sky and sucks up T-Pain. He's going to heaven, which angers Ed because for some reason, he hasn't been able to get into heaven. T-Pain just weirdly kind of talks to heaven and finds out that Ed has unfinished business down here on Earth. He doesn't exactly understand what T-Pain means by this, but the answer is near his heart according to heaven. And with that, T-Pain goes to heaven. Is T-Pain still alive? Charlie is at home asleep when Ed wakes him up frantically. He reveals that heaven is real and he asks Charlie to help find the answer that is near his heart. Charlie won't budge, but Ed says if he goes to heaven, Charlie will never have to see him again, which sways him to help. They start brainstorming what this could mean and Charlie suggests that it is literally written on his chest, which Ed finds dumb because why would heaven write something on his chest? Oh, okay, he lifts up his shirt and finds writing on his chest. 3 names to be exact. Jessica, his ex, Dad, his dad, and Rick Bowman. Charlie asks who Rick Bowman is.
Who's Rick Bowman?
And this kicks off the first of 3 unfinished business adventures to get Ed into heaven. This takes them to a school, Sacred Heart High School to be exact. Sacred Heart? Scrubs reference. This is the best movie ever. But anyway, 2 29-year-olds are out the front of a high school. Rick Bowman is the guy Ed bullied back in high school. And no, he wasn't a student, he was actually the chemistry teacher. That's right, chemistry. Rick Bowman is played by Stevie Mack, and seemingly, at least so far, Ed's biggest offense towards Bowman is getting on the yearbook committee, photoshopping this picture, and changing his name to Dick Blowman. They go to Rick's class to see him, assuming he'll be okay since it's been so many years, but no, he's completely miserable and none of the class respects him. And yes, they all refer to him as this new name.
Dick.
My name is Rick.
Showing Ed and Charlie that the name stuck, and Ed has more or less ruined his life and his career. After realizing a simple sorry wouldn't suffice, Ed starts a rubbish bin fire.
That's good for you.
And then leads Rick out of the class by carrying some paper, which for some reason, Rick follows like a child who lost his balloon, or like one of those cartoon characters when the pie smells really good and they just kind of float in the air chasing the pie, or Baden from this Portal 2 video we made. They just stop floating. Ed leads Rick into the burning classroom, which now both Ed and Charlie are in, but because Ed is a ghost, he is unaffected. Charlie, on the other hand, is actually having a hard time.
Feels like pins and needles in my chest. Okay, just suck it up, please.
Rick rallies the class and they manage to blow up the door handle by covering it with water and then throwing potassium on it. Does heat, water, and potassium make an explosion? I haven't done science for years. Albert Einstein. Why would he comment on my videos? Hey Albert, if you're watching, Charlie is just about dying and can't see anything because of the smoke.
Oh, I can't see. My eyes are open, I can't see.
But Rick is just taking his sweet time. He very centrally manages to get the door open and Charlie flops out, luckily alive. The class thinks Rick is a hero and Charlie states that Rick blew the door open to save a man's life, therefore giving Blowman a new meaning, which the class starts chanting, making Rick smile for the first time in a while.
I'm smiling. This is what it feels like to smile.
Where were the rest of the school when there was an entire classroom on fire? The name Rick Bowman removes itself from Ed's chest, meaning he's on the right track to go to heaven. 2 girls come up to them and ask Charlie if he's a new teacher and how the fire started in the first place. Neither question he actually answers and just kind of runs away chanting Blowman.
Blow man! Blow man! Blow man!
Back at the house, Ed is looking through Charlie's art, which he agrees is just depressing. Charlie reveals that he got fired from his previous job because his political possum comic that was supposed to be a comedy just wasn't funny enough. Charlie describes the story as the most depressed possum you've ever heard of, which is weirdly funny to him.
He goes around, he's always sad, and he has to pay so much in taxes. His whole family is just struggling to eat constantly. They can't pay for anything. Because capitalism, right?
Jessica comes out of nowhere, which makes me question why nobody in America ever seems to lock their doors. She's here to collect her stuff that she left here before Ed died, but she can't see Ed, and she reveals that she's a background actor, hence the makeup. She starts to collect her stuff and notices Charlie is talking to Ed, who, like mentioned, she can't see. She finds it weird that Charlie hasn't moved a single thing. It's a little weird that everything is in the exact same place, even couple photos of the 2 of them. Ed forces Charlie to ask if Jessica loved him, but Jessica refuses to answer because some random guy is asking this question. She storms out without her stuff, and her name remains on Ed's chest. They're completely lost as to how they're going to remove both Jessica and Ed's dad's name from Ed's chest. But luckily, Ed's funeral is happening. Not for Ed, but for the rest of us. So this is where we go next. The funeral of Edward Clayton, lived 1987 to 2016. Beloved son, friend, and student of life, you are in our hearts forever. Ed speaks to his body, and Charlie is lying on the floor. The turnout to the funeral is pretty empty. This is where Ed's dad walks in, who he hasn't seen for a very long time due to an argument between the two as to why his mum left. They both blamed each other the whole time when in reality, she was simply just a bad mother. Ed's father, played by Bobby Marchesso, talks to his son's body. This is actually a very emotional scene between a father and his recently deceased son. Then Ed's father says,
And I really wish that I would have taught you safe self-pleasuring practices. Okay.
Charlie pretends to speak as Ed, and Papa T believes he's actually talking to his son. Charlie angers him by mentioning hanging out in heaven with Thomas Edison, who for some reason Ed's father hates.
Thomas Edison.
Wait, dude, what are you doing? What? Now? You're gonna do all of this now? You know we've been through this before. Thomas Edison is a little bitch.
What?
But luckily he manages to save it by telling his father that he loves him, and he apologizes for the fight they had, shows he doesn't blame him for his mum leaving, and shows his gratitude. Now we're back to that emotional scene that was going so well, which is then once again interrupted by yet another masturbation joke.
And also, I didn't die by masturbating. I got my tie stuck in the door. Wait, dude, tell him before he's gone, please.
He's already leaving. I can't.
Oh my god, you're such a dick.
He's already gone.
I didn't die like that. Okay, Dad? I'm not a pervert. I masturbate just fine.
Charlie and Ed take a moment outside after the funeral, and despite the turnout of said funeral, there are just so many cars in the parking lot. Anyway, Ed checks to see if his father had been taken off the list, and yes, he has. Ed reconciling with his father through Charlie worked, and now all that's left is Jessica. Speaking of, she's walking past and Charlie gets her attention. He gives Jessica back her stuff and tries to comfort her. Jessica's friend, Sam, played by Christina Spurel, takes quite an interest in Charlie, and the two flirt a little. While this is happening, Jessica notices that the suit Charlie's wearing is actually Ed's. He sympathizes with Jessica about how it would have been weird to see Charlie living in Ed's place with all of his stuff still there. He says he only bought the house because it was super cheap and he was living out of his car, so he didn't really have much of a choice. This is when Sam spots a couple of bottles of urine in Charlie's car, which he then tries to explain away.
Is that why you have all those bottles of pee?
Oh, gross. Oh.
That is not pee.
It looks a lot like pee.
Dude, that is totally pee.
Which is then followed by this weird line from Sam.
But I get it. I mean, it's better to pee in a bottle than getting arrested for indecent exposure and then having to register as a sex offender.
I hate sex offenders.
The two bond over not liking sex offenders.
Now that I think of it, I hate sex offenders too.
No, they're the worst.
I don't think anybody likes sex offenders. That's like a universal thing.
I think that's pretty universal, guys.
Then Jessica talks about her love that she had for Ed and gives Charlie her key to Ed's house so she can't just randomly come in anymore. Then her and Sam leave. Despite Jessica seemingly coming to terms with Ed's passing, it wasn't enough to strike her off the list. So Ed assumes that she's not over him and gets the idea to make her fall in love with somebody else. And then all of the bottles of urine fall out of the car.
Oh!
We now move over to a film set, which just so happens to be the one Jessica has been working on as a background zombie. Ed states that if Jessica has to fall in love with somebody, it should be Charlie, because he's not more successful or attractive than Ed. So Charlie, doused in blood and gore makeup, spots Jessica and Sam. Once again, Sam and Charlie flirt, but Ed tells Charlie to focus on Jessica, who he then compares to his hot model cousin.
You look like my cousin. And she's a model. Yeah, she's really hot. I mean...
Anyway, they shoot the scene, which we see, and it's awful. Charlie, Jessica, and Sam aren't even shown, so I'm not entirely sure why we had to see this scene. After a scene from the show plays, Ed and Charlie talk about Charlie's comics, and Ed suggests that he makes one of the two of them. Then the girls have a blinking contest while pretending to be dead. Then they all take a couple of selfies together, which Sam wants sent to them, so Charlie asks for Jessica's number. The two pairs go their separate ways. On one side, Ed is trying to convince Charlie to ask Jessica out, while on the other, Jessica is trying to convince Sam to ask Charlie out. They make plans to hang out tomorrow, but neither Charlie or Ed realize that the date is between the three of them. Ed thinks this is enough to get him into heaven, but nope, not yet. There's still half an hour left, silly. Ed and Charlie are both hanging out at the event, and Charlie very clearly likes Sam over Jessica. Speaking of, the two of them arrive, and Charlie uncomfortably compliments Sam, and then awkwardly compliments Jessica.
Sam, you look pretty.
Thanks.
Dude, Jessica?
Jessica, you look good. Your hair looks good.
Oh, thanks.
You have a lot of hair. It's like really healthy.
That's the best you got.
Like, you're a healthy girl.
Then there's a performance of The Notebook live Bollywood style. The three and Ed watch the show until it becomes too much for Ed, who from a distance watches Sam, Charlie, and Jessica dance. He sees them all having a good time and doesn't seem to be too happy about it. Charlie goes to confront him, and Ed starts to show his fear of this plan actually working. If Charlie and Jessica kiss and the plan works, Ed goes to heaven, but all he wants is Jessica. Charlie tries to relate to Ed by telling him he once almost died by choking on a corn dog because he was trying to see how far he could get it into his mouth. I'm not sure that's quite the same.
Just wanted to see if I could fit the full corn dog in my throat and wrap my lips around the stick.
Did you?
No, I only got 3 inches in.
What was stopping you from going the whole way?
I almost died. Do you not understand what I'm saying?
Just 3 inches?
No, corn dogs are huge. I mean, this corn dog was like 6 inches long.
It's not standard corn dog size?
It was gigantic.
Maybe you should have started with a small corn dog and then worked your way up.
Can we just stop talking about this corn dog? Jesus, I was trying to give you an example.
I just think it's a little weird, you know?
Not weird.
Charlie invites Ed to permanently live with him if this plan doesn't work, but then begs him to never possess him again, because when he did earlier in the movie, Charlie nearly lost control of his bowels. The girls then come over and Sam goes to the bathroom, giving Charlie time to flirt with Jessica. He asks her to dance, which she agrees to. They start dancing in more of a friendly way, and Ed comes over to tell him to do it more romantically. Jessica thanks Charlie for doing this, as she hasn't really been able to go out and have fun since Ed died. Jessica gets a text from work saying herself and Sam need to be back on set, but before she gets the chance to leave, Ed possesses Charlie, which of course freaks Jessica out. Ed controls Charlie, trying to get him to dance with and kiss Jessica, but Charlie is fighting back and announces that Ed is a ghost who is currently inside of him.
Eddie's a ghost!
What?
Eddie's inside me! He's inside me!
I don't know what's happening.
You're a good dancer!
Ed leaves Charlie's body, and of course, Charlie loses control of his bowels.
I did bad.
As a last-ditch attempt, he tries to tell the girls the truth about Ed's plan and how kissing Jessica is key for Ed to get into heaven, but the girls are both disgusted and leave.
What?
I'm serious, you have to listen to me!
You're insane. Don't contact me, ever, again.
What?
Back at the house, Charlie is packing up his things as he and Ed argue. They have a go at each other. Charlie brings up that Ed doesn't deserve to go to heaven, and Ed brings up that Charlie's art sucks and he deserved to be fired. But Charlie reveals that he wasn't actually fired. He quit purely because of creative differences. Charlie wanted an oppressed possum dealing with the real world issues, but the company wanted a raccoon that focuses more on the humor. Creative differences? Overlord oppressors? This sounds a little bit familiar to what was kind of going on at the moment that I touched upon before. Was this trying to tell us something? I think this might have been. But anyway, much like he did at that job, Charlie leaves. As he's leaving, Ed sees that Charlie has drawn Ed into the selfie he took with the girls. This wakes Ed up and he runs after Charlie.
Charlie, wait!
He apologizes for being a bad person and for all the specific things that he's done over the last few days. He also admits that Jessica not moving on from Ed isn't the reason her name won't come off the list. It's because Ed isn't over Jessica. He realizes that he's already lost Jessica once and he doesn't want to lose Charlie too, and calls him his best friend.
You're my best friend.
Then Charlie admits that Ed is his only friend, so therefore best friend.
I think you're my only friend.
I mean, yeah, obviously.
They get in the car because Charlie has a plan. Back on the film set, the two of them find Jessica and Sam, who want nothing to do with Charlie. Charlie comes in with a bunch of facts that proves that he's talked to Ed and tries to prove that he's not crazy. Charlie is ready to give up because Jessica just doesn't believe him. And out of frustration, Ed says Jessica is being
Such a penultimate dick right now.
And Charlie tells Ed that that's not how you use the word penultimate, which is a callback to earlier in the movie.
How come every discussion we have lately penultimately ends with you mad at me?
Oh my god, for the last time, that's not how you use penultimate.
Since when?
And this is what helps Jessica realize that Charlie is in fact talking to Ed, because nobody else has ever misused the word penultimate time and time again, despite being corrected time and time again. She starts to believe Charlie, and Ed, through Charlie, apologizes for everything and shares his love with Jessica for the final time, who can feel his presence and his love.
Eddie?
I love you, Jessica.
Love you, Ed.
T-Pain opens up the sky and takes Ed away, thanking his best friend and saying goodbye. T-Pain makes it so Jessica can see Ed, and he says his final I love yous and his final goodbyes.
Bye, Jess. I'll always love you.
Love you too, Ed.
And goes up to heaven. Jessica, trying to process what just happened, goes home. Charlie is about to do the same, but Sam follows him. They talk about Ed and Charlie being able to see him, and even agree to go into details about it over some coffee sometime. The two walk off as the lights on set and in the entire city turn off. Despite the director saying, let's take 20 at the top of this scene.
Okay, let's take 10. Let's take 20.
I guess they're done for now. And speaking of done for now, that is the end of Ghostmates. Until a mid-credit scene shows Charlie working on his art with the help of Sam, and they're making a comic strip about the funeral scene from earlier in the movie. Ed is behind them blowing on Charlie's ear, and he has apparently gotten a job as Charlie's guardian angel. Sam, who still can't see him but now knows that he's there, asks why they just didn't cover Ed in a sheet or something so people could actually see him, which would have made things a whole lot easier.
God damn it.
And that is the end of Ghostmates. For real this time. For a YouTube exclusive YouTuber made movie, I honestly didn't think Ghostmates was half bad, and definitely not as bad as everybody lets on. Smosh was the first YouTube channel I ever watched, and the brand has always been one of my favorites, so maybe that sways my opinion a little bit, but to be fair, I wasn't that fond on Smosh the movie when it first came out. I don't know, maybe I'll have to analyze it next month, watch it in a different video, I don't know. Something like this, but with Smosh the movie next month, coming next month. It's going to be coming next month. But anyway, let me know what you thought of this video, and let me know what you thought of Ghostmates as a movie. And did you watch the movie when it came out? Because I feel like it came out at such a bad time for Smosh. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, it was kind of around the start of their downfall. So I knew it was happening, I knew it was coming out, and I knew when it released, but I just wasn't that bothered spending a bunch of money on YouTube Red just to watch it, because like I said, it was kind of on the downfall. I don't know. Let me know what your guys' history with this movie is, if you have one. I'm glad Smosh is back, and this has been really fun getting to watch this movie for the first time and then writing about it and talking about it. But what I'm most glad about is you sticking around this far into the video. Leave a like if you went on to enjoy this. Maybe subscribe if you happen to be new. Like I said, I'm planning on doing a Smosh the movie analysis next month, so definitely want to stay tuned for that, because that's going to be funny. And it's going to be fun to go back and watch it, because I haven't watched it since it came out, which was 2015, I think I said. So be there. But yeah, that is all for now. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Happy Halloween, and bye for now.